Have you ever wondered what lies behind the razor wire fences of those old nuclear sites? The kind abandoned after some secret disaster, places where the air still hums with danger, waiting for curious fools to stumble in. My name is Alex, and I'm the last survivor from that night in 2015. Back then, I was just a 15-year-old kid from a sleepy town in Washington state, hooked on urban exploring with my friends. This is my story, the one that haunts my dreams, of how our dumb adventure turned into a nightmare at the Hanford nuclear site. It started like any other summer evening. Me, Mike, Sarah, and Tom were bored teens, always chasing thrills in abandoned buildings around town. We'd sneak into old factories or creepy houses, filming everything for our secret YouTube channel. But Hanford was different. It was a massive, off-limits ghost town of concrete bunkers and rusted reactors, shut down decades ago after radiation leaks. Rumors swirled about government experiments gone wrong, mutated animals, glowing ghosts, and hidden labs where scientists played God with atoms. We'd seen videos online about Project Shadow, some classified program that supposedly created weird creatures from radiation. Mike, our fearless leader with his love for horror movies, convinced us it was the ultimate score. "Come on, guys," he said, eyes sparkling with excitement. "We'll be legends." Sarah, the tough girl with the camera, was all in. Tom, our comic relief, packed snacks and jokes. Me? I was scared, but didn't want to look weak. So, we piled into Mike's beat-up truck, hearts pounding, with that mix of fear and fun. Little did we know, stepping past that fence would change everything. The site wasn't just empty. It was alive with secrets that should have stayed buried. If I'd known then what waited inside, I'd have run the other way. But curiosity pulled us in. And now, I'm left with the guilt of being the only one who made it out. Looking back, I can still feel the mix of excitement and nerves buzzing in my chest that night. We were just kids. Me, Mike, Sarah, and Tom, 4 teens from Richland, Washington, a quiet town overshadowed by the Hanford nuclear site. It was the kind of place where everyone knew someone who'd worked there back in the day, building bombs during the Cold War. But by 2015, most of it was shut down, a sprawling wasteland of forgotten buildings and warning signs. We'd grown up hearing stories about it, but that only made us want to see it more. Mike was the one who started it all. He was 16, tall and skinny, with messy brown hair, always wearing that faded horror movie t-shirt from The Thing. He loved scary stuff. Zombies, aliens, you name it. "Guys, this is our big break," he'd say in his dramatic voice, like we were starring in our own film. Mike was the leader, the one who planned our adventures. We'd been urban exploring for a year already, sneaking into old barns or empty warehouses around town. It was fun, harmless thrills that made us feel alive. But Hanford, that was next level. "Think about the views on our channel," he'd grin. We had this secret YouTube account where we'd upload shaky videos of our explores. Nothing big, just for us and a few online friends. Sarah was our camera girl, 15 like me, with short blonde hair and a backpack full of gadgets. She was tough, the kind of girl who didn't back down from anything. Her dad was a mechanic, and she'd learned how to fix stuff from him. Perfect for picking locks or hot wiring if needed. Sarah was excited too, but in a cool, collected way. "We'll get epic footage," she'd say, adjusting her GoPro. She made us feel like pros, even though we were just messing around. Then, There was Tom, the funny one. He was 14, chubby with glasses that always slid down his nose, and he never went anywhere without snacks. If we're gonna die of radiation, at least I'll have chips, he'd joke, munching on Doritos. Tom kept things light, cracking puns to ease the tension. We were all friends from middle school, bonded by boredom in a town with nothing to do. Exploring was our escape from homework, parents, and the same old routine. Me? I was the quiet one, Alex Rivera, with my backpack of water bottles and a flashlight that barely worked. I wasn't as brave as the others, but I tagged along because being with them made me feel bold. Deep down, though, Hanford scared me more than I let on. My dad had died 2 years earlier from cancer. Doctors said it might be from working near the site back in the 90s. I never told the group. I didn't want pity, but sneaking in there felt personal, like poking at an old wound. Still, the pull of adventure won out. What's the worst that could happen? I thought. Famous last words. That evening, the sun was dipping low, painting the sky orange as we drove Mike's rusty Ford out to the site's edge. The air got drier, dustier, with that faint metallic tang you could almost taste. We parked behind some bushes off a dirt road, hearts racing. "Okay, team," Mike whispered, pulling out bolt cutters from the trunk. The fence loomed ahead, chain link topped with razor wire, dotted with faded signs. Danger. Radiation area. No trespassing. U.S. government property. My stomach flipped, but Sarah just smirked. Piece of cake. We cut a hole big enough to crawl through, giggling nervously like it was a game. Once inside, the world changed. The ground was cracked concrete, overgrown with weeds pushing through. Massive buildings squatted in the distance. Gray bunkers with peeling paint. Chimneys like silent giants. The wind whistled through broken windows, carrying a weird, burnt smell, like old wires frying. No birds chirped. It was too quiet, too still. "This place is creepy as hell," Tom muttered, but Mike shushed him. That's the point. We hiked toward the main reactor building, our flashlights bobbing in the growing dark. Sarah started filming, narrating in a spooky voice. "Welcome to Hanford, folks, where the ghosts of the atomic age roam." We laughed, but it felt forced. As we got closer, little things started bugging us. Our cheap Geiger counter, bought online for $20, clicked softly at first, then faster. "Just background radiation," Mike said, waving it off. But my skin prickled. Like static electricity in the air, we slipped through a side door into what looked like an old control room. Dust coated everything. Consoles with dials frozen in time. Papers scattered like confetti from a long-forgotten party. Tom shone his light on a wall map, yellowed and torn. "Look at this. Project Shadow. What the heck is that?" We crowded around old files we found in a drawer. They were declassified docs, talking about experiments in the 60s, mixing radiation with animal testing to create enhanced specimens for military use. Stuff about gene mutations, super strength. But it read like sci-fi. "Government mad science," Sarah whispered, eyes wide. We joked about it. Mutant rats coming for us. But inside, doubt crept in. Was this real? As we explored deeper, the first weird signs hit. A low hum echoed from the vents, like old machines groaning awake. Our flashlights flickered, bulbs dimming for no reason. "Batteries?" Tom asked, swapping his out. But it kept happening. Then, a shadow darted at the edge of our beams. Quick, like a person slipping away. "Did you see that?" I asked, voice shaking. Mike laughed it off. Wind-moving dust, dude. Chill. But my heart pounded. I thought of my dad. How he'd warned me about places like this. Some secrets are buried for a reason, he'd say. We pushed on, the excitement fading into something edgier. The air felt heavier, my head starting to ache. Tom complained of a weird itch on his arm, but we ignored it. Looking back, that was our mistake. We were too caught up in the thrill to see the danger building. The site wasn't just abandoned, it was waiting, and we'd walked right into its trap. If only we turned back then. As we ventured deeper into the Hanford site that night, the thrill started to sour into something uneasy, like a bad dream you can't shake off. The control room had given us a taste of the weirdness, but we were too pumped up to stop. Come on, let's find the reactor core, Mike whispered, his voice echoing off the concrete walls. His eyes gleamed with that wild excitement, the kind that made him seem invincible. Sarah nodded, adjusting her GoPro strap, while Tom munched on a candy bar, trying to act cool. Me, my hands were sweaty on the flashlight, and my headache was getting worse. But I didn't say anything. I didn't want to be the one to chicken out. We moved down a long hallway, our footsteps crunching on broken glass and debris. The air grew thicker, heavy with dust that made us cough. That burnt metal smell got stronger, stinging our noses like chemicals from a science lab gone wrong. The Geiger counter clicked more often now. Tick, 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 like a nervous heartbeat. It's probably nothing, Sarah said, but her voice wavered a bit. We all knew radiation was real here. Signs everywhere warned about it, but we were kids, thinking we were untouchable. The hallway opened into a bigger space. What looked like an old lab. Metal tables lined the walls, covered in rusted equipment. Beakers cracked from age. Wires dangling like dead snakes. In one corner, we found glass jars filled with stuff. Weird, preserved things floating in yellow liquid. Whoa, check this out, Tom said, shining his light on one. Inside was what looked like a frog, but way too big, with extra legs and eyes bulging out. Mutant ninja frog? He joked, but nobody laughed. It felt wrong, like we were peeking at something forbidden. Mike picked up a folder from a shelf, dust flying everywhere. More on Project Shadow, he read aloud. The papers talked about testing radiation on animals to make them stronger. Rats that could survive poison, dogs with glowing eyes. This is gold for our video, he grinned. But reading it made my stomach twist. It reminded me of my dad. How the doctors said radiation from his job might have caused his cancer. I felt a pang of guilt, like I was betraying his memory by being here. We kept going, drawn deeper like moths to a flame. The hum from the vents grew louder, vibrating through the floor. Sounds like a generator or something, Mike said. But it didn't feel mechanical. It pulsed, almost alive. Sarah started filming close-ups of the jars, narrating, "Evidence of secret experiments? You decide." Tom leaned against a wall, scratching his arm. "Man, this itch is killing me. Must be the dust." I noticed red spots on his skin, like a rash, but he brushed it off. We found a door labeled Restricted Core Access, half ajar. Mike pushed it open, and a rush of cold air hit us, carrying a rotten egg smell that made us gag. Inside was the heart of the reactor, a huge chamber with massive pipes twisting like veins. Control panels smashed and covered in graffiti from past trespassers. In the center, a big pit dropped into darkness, fenced off with yellow tape that said, "High radiation." The Geiger went nuts, clicking so fast it sounded like static. Whoa, turn that thing off, Tom said, his face pale. But Mike was thrilled. This is it, guys. The core where it all went wrong. He climbed over the tape for a better look. Shining his light down, I see water down there, glowing a bit. Sarah zoomed in with her camera. I stayed back, my head throbbing like a drum. We should go, I muttered. But they ignored me. That's when things started getting really weird. As Mike leaned over the edge, a whisper echoed from the pit. Soft, like a voice murmuring words we couldn't make out. Did you hear that? Sarah asked. Freezing, we all strained to listen. It came again. Help. Me. Clear as day, but muffled, like someone trapped. Tom's eyes widened. Screw this. It's probably an echo or wind. But Mike's face lit up. No way. Maybe a hidden room. Let's check it out. He found a ladder bolted to the wall. Rusty but intact. Against my better judgment, we followed him down, one by one. The air down there was freezing, damp, and the smell, God, like rotten meat mixed with chemicals. My flashlight beam shook as I climbed, heart slamming in my chest. At the bottom, we landed in a flooded basement level. Water up to our ankles, slimy and cold. Pipes leaked from above, dripping steadily. The whispers were louder here, coming from a side tunnel. Over there, Sarah pointed, her voice shaky for the first time. We sloshed through the water, the Geiger screaming now. Tom tripped on something. A bone? No, a shoe, old and moldy. Gross, he said. But then we saw more. Scattered clothes, a backpack half submerged. Other explorers? Mike wondered aloud. We found a notebook floating nearby. Pages swollen but readable. It was a journal from a scientist, dated 1968. Project Shadow success. Subjects show enhanced abilities, but aggression increasing. Containment breach imminent. They're changing us. The last entry. God help us, they're loose. Panic started bubbling up. This is bad, guys, I said, my voice cracking. We need to leave. But Mike shook his head. Just a prank journal. Come on. The whispers are probably from a vent. Tom wasn't laughing anymore. He clutched his arm, the rash spreading, turning blistery. I don't feel good, he admitted, sweat beading on his forehead despite the cold. Sarah's flashlight flickered, then died. Batteries were full, she hissed, swapping them frantically. Mine dimmed too, like something was sucking the power. We pressed on toward the whispers, stupidly curious. The tunnel narrowed, walls slick with green slime that glowed faintly in the dark. Then, a shadow moved ahead, tall, hunched, slipping around a corner. What was that? Tom yelped. We froze, beams converging on the spot. Nothing, but the whispers turned to moans, pained and human-like. It's calling our names, Sarah whispered. I heard it too. Mike? Sarah, come closer. Chills ran down my spine, fear twisting my gut like a knife. Suddenly, Tom's phone buzzed. No signal earlier, but now a glitchy text. Get out. From who? It vanished before we could check. Prank app, Mike said, but his confidence was cracking. We turned a corner into a small room. Another lab, with cages bent open, claw marks on the walls. On a table, fresh blood smeared. Not old, dripping. This isn't right, I said, backing up. Footprints in the muck. Human-ish, but twisted, with extra toes. The Geiger hit a peak, and Tom doubled over, vomiting. My skin. It burns, he groaned. We saw it. Blisters popping on his arms. Pus oozing. Radiation sickness? Or something worse? The The group started arguing. "We gotta go back," I yelled. Sarah agreed, tears in her eyes. But Mike, stubborn as ever, "Just a little more. We need proof for the video." Tom collapsed against the wall, moaning. That's when the first real attack came, a scuttling sound from the dark. Then something lunged, fast, pale, grabbing at Tom's leg. He screamed as it dragged him a few feet before we shone lights on it. It was a thing, like a person, but wrong. Skin blistered and glowing faintly, eyes milky white, mouth stretched in a silent howl. It hissed and retreated into the shadows. We ran, hauling Tom up, his leg torn and bleeding. Panic hit full force, hearts racing, breaths ragged. "What the hell was that?" Sarah cried. Mike finally looked scared. "Mutant." From the experiments, we scrambled back through the tunnel, water splashing, but the whispers followed. Laughing now, more shadows darted, circling us. Our lights failed one by one, plunging us into near darkness. Tom slowed, wheezing. "Leave me. I can't." But we dragged him, friendship overriding fear. Back at the ladder, we climbed desperately. Sarah went first, then me. Mike helped Tom, but halfway up, Tom slipped, screaming as hands, pale, clawed, yanked him down. "No!" Mike shouted, firing a flare gun we'd brought for fun. It lit the pit in red glow, revealing them. A dozen figures, twisted humans with elongated limbs, daubed in slime, eyes reflecting the light like animals. They swarmed Tom, tearing at him. His screams echoed, blood-curdling, as Mike climbed up, face ashen. "He's gone. Oh God, he's gone." We bolted for the exit, but the site felt alive now. Doors slamming shut on their own, pipes bursting steam. Sarah tripped, twisting her ankle, but we kept going. Whispers in our ears. "Join us. Feel the power." My skin itched too. Visions flashing. My dad, wasted in the hospital bed, warning me. Guilt and terror mixed, tears streaming. We were no longer explorers. We were prey in a nightmare we couldn't wake from. As we neared the outer door, more creatures blocked the way. Stronger, smarter. One grabbed Sarah, its touch burning her arm. She fought, stabbing with a shard of glass, but it bit down, drawing blood. "It hurts," she wailed. Mike and I pulled her free, but the damage was done. Her skin bubbled instantly. We burst outside, the night air a shock, but the fence seemed miles away, and behind us, howls rose. The chase was on, and our group was breaking apart from the inside. We burst out of the reactor building into the cold night air, but freedom felt like a cruel joke. The Hanford site stretched around us like a graveyard of shadows, the massive bunkers looming under a moonless sky. My lungs burned from running, legs shaky from fear. Sarah limped beside me, her arm blistering where that thing had bitten her. Red welts spreading like fire under her skin. Mike was right behind, his face white as a ghost, flare gun still smoking in his hand. Tom's screams echoed in my head, raw and endless, like they'd never stop. "We left him," I gasped, tears mixing with sweat. Guilt hit me hard, twisting my insides. Tom, our funny friend with the bad jokes, he was gone, torn apart by those monsters. How could we just run? "Keep moving," Mike yelled, voice cracking for the first time. He was trying to hold it together, but I saw the panic in his eyes. We sprinted toward the fence, our flashlights, the few that still worked, bouncing wildly. The Geiger counter in Sarah's pack wailed like a siren, the clicks blending into one constant buzz. Radiation was everywhere, soaking into us. But that was the least of our worries now. Behind us, howls rose. Inhuman, hungry sounds that chilled my blood. They were coming. Those twisted things from the experiments. Mutants, born from Project Shadow's madness, surviving in the dark on radiation and flesh. We dodged between buildings, weaving through rusted trucks and overgrown paths. Sarah stumbled, crying out as her ankle gave way. "It hurts so bad," she sobbed, clutching her arm. The bite was worsening, her skin bubbling, veins glowing faintly blue under the surface. Something's inside me, changing. I helped her up, my own skin itching like crazy, a deep burn starting in my chest. Was it the radiation? Or had we all been exposed to whatever poisoned those creatures? Mike glanced back. "They're close. I see shapes moving." Sure enough, pale figures loped after us, their eyes reflecting our lights like cats in the dark. They weren't shambling zombies from movies. They were fast, smart, hunting as a pack. We ducked into another bunker for cover, slamming the metal door shut. It was a storage room, filled with old barrels, leaking green ooze, and shelves of forgotten tools. We barricaded the door with crates, hearts pounding. "What are they?" Sarah whispered, sliding to the floor. Her face was pale, sweat pouring. Mike paced, flare gun ready. From the journals, the scientists messed with genes, radiation, created super soldiers or something. But it backfired. They mutated, escaped, and now they infect others. I thought of the whispers, the way they called our names, like a virus, turning people into them. Mike nodded grimly. Tom, he was changing before they got him. The door rattled, bangs like fists hammering. We backed up, weapons improvised. Me with a metal pipe from the shelf, Sarah clutching a broken bottle despite her pain. The door buckled, and a claw, long, bony, poked through. "Get back." Mike fired the flare, the red light exploding in the gap. A screech outside, then silence. But it didn't last. More pounding, from the walls now, like they were surrounding us. Sarah screamed as her arm spasmed, the blisters popping with sickening pops. "Make it stop." She scratched at it, drawing blood. Underneath, her skin looked wrong, scaly, glowing. I'm turning like them. Tears streamed down her face, fear and pain mixing into pure agony. I held her, my best friend, feeling helpless. "We'll get you out," I promised, but it felt like a lie. The door flew open, crates scattering. In poured the mutants. 3 of them, taller than us, bodies twisted with extra limbs and tumors pulsing with light. Their faces were the worst. Remnants of humans, mouths stretched wide with jagged teeth, eyes blank but intelligent. The leader, what I later called the Alpha, was bigger, wearing tatters of a lab coat, like it had once been a scientist. It growled, a sound that vibrated in my bones. "Join, family." Mike shot another flare, hitting one in the chest. It howled, skin sizzling but kept coming. I swung my pipe, cracking another's knee. It crumpled, but grabbed my leg, nails digging in. Pain exploded, hot and sharp as I kicked free. Chaos erupted. Sarah lunged at one with her bottle. Stabbing its eye, it retaliated, slashing her chest. She fell back, blood soaking her shirt. "Run!" she yelled at us. But Mike charged in, tackling the Alpha. They rolled on the floor, Mike punching wildly. "You won't take us," he shouted, rage fueling him. The Alpha pinned him, jaws snapping inches from his face. I bashed its head with the pipe. Crunch, and it recoiled, giving Mike a chance to scramble up, but the other mutant grabbed Sarah, dragging her toward the door. "No, Alex, help." Her voice broke my heart. Full of terror, I fought through, pipe swinging, but it was too strong. Sarah's eyes met mine, wide, pleading, as it bit her neck. She convulsed, body arching in pain. "It burns. Inside." Then, horribly, her screams turned to gurgles, her skin rippling like something was moving under it. Mike pulled me back. "She's gone. We have to go." But I couldn't leave her. "Sarah!" I cried, tears blurring everything. The mutant released her, and she twitched on the ground, her arm fully mutated now, claws forming. Oh God, she was changing right before us. The alpha roared, lunging again. Mike fired his last flare point blank into its face. It staggered, blinded, thrashing wildly. We bolted past, leaving the bunker. Outside, more mutants waited. A pack of 5, circling. "The fence, it's that way." Mike pointed, but they cut us off. We ran blindly into another building, the main reactor hall we'd explored earlier. The pit loomed, glowing faintly from below. "Up the catwalk," I yelled. We climbed metal stairs, rusted and creaking, the mutants swarming below. From above, we saw them clearly, dozens now, drawn by the noise. Their howls filled the air, a chorus of hunger. Sarah, or what was left of her, joined them below, her form twisted, eyes glowing as she looked up at us. "No, not her," I sobbed, grief crashing over me like a wave. Mike's hand shook on the railing. "We fight or die." He found an old control panel, wires exposed. "Maybe I can overload something." He yanked cables, sparking electricity. The mutants climbed the stairs, claws scraping metal. I grabbed a loose chain from the catwalk, swinging it like a whip. The first mutant reached us. I cracked its skull, sending it tumbling into the pit. But more came. One slashed Mike's side, blood blooming on his shirt. He grunted in pain, but kept working the panel. Almost. Got it. Sparks flew, alarms blaring. Old systems waking up. The room shook as pumps hummed to life, flooding the pit with glowing water. Steam hissed, burning the mutants below. The alpha leaped onto the catwalk, face charred, but furious. It grabbed Mike, lifting him high. "Mike!" I screamed, charging. I rammed the chain into its back, but it tossed Mike over the edge. He caught the railing, dangling above the churning pit. "Help me!" His voice was desperate. Slipping, I reached for him, but the alpha turned on me. Claws raised, time slowed. Fear, anger, loss boiling inside. I dodged, grabbing a loose bolt from the floor, stabbing its throat. It gurgled, weakening. Mike's grip failed. He fell, screaming, into the radioactive soup below. Bubbles rose, then silence. Alone now, grief hit like a punch. My friends, gone. The alpha slumped, dying, but more mutants climbed. In desperation, I smashed the control panel fully. Lights flickered, a deep rumble building. Emergency shutdown initiated, a robotic voice boomed. Old tech activating. The catwalk groaned, collapsing under the vibrations. I jumped to a ledge as it fell. Mutants tumbling into the pit. Explosions rippled. Not huge, but enough to seal tunnels with debris. Steam and radiation filled the air, burning my lungs. I crawled through a vent, skin on fire, vision blurring. Hours blurred into escape, staggering through the sight, avoiding patrols of those things. Finally, I reached the fence, squeezing through the hole we'd cut. Collapsing outside, I blacked out, woke in a hospital, Cops and doctors hovering. Trespassing accident, they called it, covering up the truth. But I knew. Project Shadow's horrors were real, still lurking. My scars remind me daily, and the itch, it never fully goes away. Waking up in that hospital bed felt like surfacing from a deep, dark ocean, gasping for air, everything blurry and wrong. The beeps of machines filled my ears, bright lights stabbing my eyes. Nurses hovered, faces masked, whispering about radiation exposure and trespassing incident. I tried to sit up, but straps held me down. Where are my friends? I croaked, voice raw from screaming. A doctor with kind but tired eyes leaned in. You're lucky to be alive, son. We found you by the fence, half dead from burns and dehydration. But when I babbled about mutants, whispers, and Project Shadow, his face hardened. Hallucinations from the rads, he said. Rest now. Deep down, I knew it was a cover-up. The government didn't want word getting out about what really lurked in Hanford. They kept me isolated for weeks. Quarantine, they called it. IV drips, pumping meds into my veins. Scans checking for cancer or worse. My skin itched constantly, like bugs crawling underneath, and the blisters on my leg from that claw mark healed slow, leaving ugly scars that glowed faintly in the dark. Nights were the worst, nightmares replaying it all. Tom's screams as they tore him apart, Sarah's eyes turning milky as she changed, Mike's final yell as he fell into the pit. Grief hit me like waves, crashing over me until I sobbed into my pillow. They were my friends, my family in that small town, and I'd left them behind. Survivor's guilt ate at me, whispering in my dad's voice, "Why you, Alex? Why not them?" I missed them so much. The way Mike's laughs filled the room, Sarah's tough smiles, Tom's dumb jokes. Now, they were gone, twisted into those things or worse. The cops came eventually, stern faces in uniforms. "What were you doing there, kid?" they asked. Notebooks ready, I told them everything. The fence, the lab, the creatures. They nodded politely, but I saw the looks they exchanged. "Sounds like a bad trip from the radiation," one said. "No arrests, just warnings. Stay out of restricted areas." Later, I overheard them talking to the doctor about containing the story. Hanford was a national secret, after all. Site of old nukes. Experiments buried deep. They didn't want panic or investigations. My phone and Sarah's GoPro confiscated as evidence. Our YouTube channel vanished overnight, scrubbed clean. When they finally let me go home, Mom was waiting, eyes red from crying. She hugged me tight, whispering, "Thank God you're okay." But home didn't feel safe anymore. Richland seemed too quiet, the shadows too long. I couldn't sleep without lights on, jumping at every creak. The itch spread, subtle at first, a tingle in my fingers, then burning in my veins. Doctors said it was nerve damage from the exposure. Prescribed pills that dulled the pain, but not the fear. One night, staring in the mirror, I swore my eyes flickered blue, like Sarah's had. It's starting, I thought, panic rising. Was I infected, turning into one of them? I started researching online, late at night when insomnia hit. Forums about urban exploring, conspiracy sites on Hanford, whispers of Project Shadow everywhere, declassified docs, hinting at gene splicing gone wrong, creating enhanced beings that escaped during a meltdown in the 70s. Survivors talked about glowing figures in the woods, missing hikers never found. One post chilled me. They don't kill quick. They change you, make you family. I reached out anonymously, sharing bits of my story. Replies flooded in. You're marked now. The radiation calls them. Paranoia set in. Was that a shadow outside my window? A whisper in the wind? Months turned to years. I'm 25 now, living in Seattle, far from Richland's dusty streets. I work a boring job at a coffee shop, blending in. But the past clings like radiation dust. Therapy helps some, talking about the trauma, the loss. But I can't tell the full truth. They'd lock me up. Instead, I pour it into this video, recording in my dim apartment, voice steady, but eyes haunted. If you're watching, I say to the camera, heed my warning. Curiosity killed my friends. Places like Hanford hold secrets that bite back. The changes are subtle, but real. My skin's tougher now, healing fast from cuts. Food tastes wrong. I crave raw stuff, metallic flavors, and the whispers. They come back in quiet moments, urging me to return home. Last week, I woke with claws scratching my sheets, my own nails, sharpened overnight. Horror gripped me, staring at my hands in the moonlight. Am I becoming one? The Alpha's words echo. Join, family. Grief mixes with dread. Maybe my friends are still out there, waiting in the dark. I visited the site once, years later, from afar, stood by the fence, wind carrying that burnt smell. In the distance, shapes moved, hunched, glowing. A howl rose, calling my name, Alex. I ran, heart pounding, vowing never to return. But the pull grows stronger. Some nights, I dream of joining them, running free in the ruins. No more pain or loneliness. If you're listening to this tale, maybe late at night scrolling videos, be careful. That itch after watching, the whisper in your ear, it might not be imagination. The shadows of Hanford reach far, infecting through stories like mine. Turn off the screen, lock your doors, but know this, once exposed, you can't escape. The change starts small, a tingle, a dream, then consumes you. My friends learned that the hard way. And me? I'm the last one, holding on. But for how long? Thanks for watching. If you feel different after this, well, welcome to the family.